Welcome back to Politics Nation. Folks, remember her? Think way back to the year 2000. That's Katherine Harris. She was at the center of controversy as Florida's Secretary of State in charge of certifying the recount of 2000, after also serving as George W. Bush's campaign chair in Florida. Nobody will ever forget the hanging chads and the confusion in the days after the election. And then there was this ballot, the butterfly ballot, used in Palm Beach County, the source of major confusion. The top part was easy. If you wanted George Bush, you punched the top circle. But if you wanted Al Gore, you had to punch the third circle. It turns out over 6,000 who wanted Gore punched that second circle and accidentally voted for Pat Buchanan. After all of that, it boiled down to 537 votes. We all know how that turned out.
I hereby declare Governor George W. Bush the winner of Florida's 25 electoral votes for the President of the United States.
Now, before that, Katherine Harris was involved in a massive effort to disenfranchise thousands of voters in Florida. But she made a big mistake. Her voter cleansing program, designed to vet the voting rolls for felons, wrongfully kept thousands of people from voting, particularly minorities. 12,000 voters were wrongfully identified as felons and purged from the voter rolls. 12 years later, we've had massive voter suppression going on again. And surprise, surprise, it involves voter purging. The breaking news today, an explosive report from the Miami Herald saying Governor Rick Scott's voter purge plan was hatched after a 5-minute conversation with his former Secretary of State, Kurt Browning. Browning, who was an election supervisor for 26 years, recently told the Miami Herald, quote, "I didn't feel comfortable rolling this initiative out. Something was telling me this isn't going to fly. We didn't have our I's dotted and T's crossed when I was there. I would not have sent this list to the counties." Enter the new Secretary of State, Ken Delcer, who's leading the way and defying the Justice Department's warning. But a funny thing is happening on the way to the purge. We found out. Joining me now is Judith Browne Dianis, co-director of the Advancement Project, and Susan Booker. She's the supervisor of elections for Palm Beach County, Florida. Thanks to both of you for being here tonight.
Thanks, Reverend Sharpton.
Ms. Booker, let me start with you. Will you participate in the governor's plan to go through the voter rolls in your county?
No, sir. We did not start sending the first letters out because we determined that the information provided to the supervisors was not credible nor reliable information, and that's a requirement in Florida law.
So you're saying, as the supervisor in Palm Beach County, that you have not sent out the letters and that you do not feel that the list sent you complies with what it needs to and should be required to for you to operate as an official of elections in your county?
No, the final determination in the Florida law lies with the supervisors of elections. And prior to us getting ready to send letters out, we discovered that some of our colleagues who did send the letters out, they found a World War II decorated veteran. They found a lady that was born in Ohio, somebody born in Massachusetts. The information is outdated. It came from the Division of Driver's License. And you can see on our data, some of the information is as old as 12 years old. It was from the year 2000. And so we requested updated information, and to date we haven't received anything else.
So you found veterans, you found people that have a long history of voting, you found people on the list that was just blatantly incorrect. Well, what do you think the governor's up to here?
Well, I think we have a previous history, and I think you already stated that, you know, Florida has a history of trying to update the voter rolls, very interestingly so, in a presidential election year. You know, the supervisors want to keep accurate data and accurate voter rolls, and since I joined the supervisor's office about 3.5 years ago, we have legally purged almost 50,000 voters who either passed away, moved, or no longer have their voting rights. And that's the way it should be done. It shouldn't be at the 11th hour. You know, obviously Secretary Browning Manning, who has a lot of election experience, did not feel confident that the information provided to the supervisors was credible nor reliable. Otherwise, he would have sent it to us when he had it. It's been around for about a year. It's interesting that at the 11th hour, they're pushing this on us, and we are in election mode. We don't have time to do this. And I'm very pleased that
Susan, it's not that you don't purge voters, but you're saying that do it right, don't do it at the 11th hour, and don't wait till the election time. Very interesting. So you're not an apologist about cleaning the rolls, but you want to do it where people are protected, if I'm hearing you correctly.
That's correct. You know, there's no time that any supervisor in any state wants to go tag a voter and say, show me your papers, and have them turn up to be a U.S.-born citizen. That's just not fair to us. And the only place that we've received the information is from the Department of State, and the information is obviously incorrect, and the supervisors are not complying with the direction that the governor and the Secretary of State has requested.
Now, Judith, this happened after a 5-minute conversation between the then Secretary of State and the governor. Five-minute conversation.
That's right. I mean, this is clearly, you know, the smoking gun evidence of this debacle. Here you have, you know, the Secretary of State saying, you know, this is wrong. You know, this isn't the first time that this has happened. In 2000, actually, the company that did the purge actually said to them, to Katherine Harris, we should not do it this way. But she decided to go ahead. And, you know, there's no coincidence that this is happening at the last minute. You know, when we look at this, this is about a showdown around democracy. In one corner, we have the governor, who is the voter suppressor. In the other corner, we have the Attorney General of the United States saying he's going to stand with the citizens of the United States and he's going to protect the right to vote.
Now, Judith, the governor said that he's really trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist. Let me show you what he said.
This is protecting the rights of U.S. citizens and not diluting their vote by non-U.S. citizens. When non-U.S. citizens register to vote and vote, it is illegal. We were trying to fix our voter rolls, and they're trying to stop us. It doesn't make any sense.
Now, for the record, the voting fraud in Florida since 2000, there's been 178 allegations out of 37 million votes cast. I mean, this is really the epitome of a solution looking for a problem.
That's right. Americans should be outraged by this, that this governor is standing in the way of democracy. He is undermining our democracy, trying to get people off the rolls at the last minute. And in fact, it's illegal. You can't suppress the vote. You cannot suppress the vote, first of all, and then you cannot purge so closely to an election. And we know this is what this is about. This is about him doing it for partisan gain.
Susan, let me ask you the last question. What's the way forward? There's a standoff here. The Justice Department is involved. What's the move forward, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, we're going to look to the federal government and the courts to do the right thing, and we're going to proceed and start ramping up for a very important presidential year. And we have policies and procedures in place to protect the voter rolls and to protect the voters. And I'm confident that the federal government will help us proceed in the proper manner, and we won't be purging the voters because we're in election mode. We're so close to the presidential and the primary that the 90-day time frame that is outlined in the federal law and also in the state law should be adhered to, and that's what we're going to do here in Palm Beach County.
Well, let me say this. Obviously, we all have our own opinions, and I'm very transparent about mine. But this is not about who you support. This is not about what party you might be a member of. This is about protecting everyone's right to vote. And we're going to keep talking about it, keep fighting in Florida and everywhere else. I don't care if the people we protect all vote against the way I think they should. They must be protected. We must protect the democratic right to vote for everybody. Judith Browne Dianis and Susan Booker, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
Thank you, sir.
Up next, Paul Ryan is facing his toughest opposition yet. A group of nuns are traveling the country and speaking out against his attack on the poor. Plus, the emails are still coming in from my interview with Newt Gingrich. I've got one more thing to say, however, about his response to food stamps and secret meetings. Stay with us.